One Smash Mouth Sports Radio. I am your host, as always, Preston Bailey. Like and subscribe to the channel. Send it to all your friends and family members. If not, we're gonna send Cam Vieira, my co-host, there to beat you up and shake you down. Who's looking like an old New York mob boss today? Cam, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to be here. New York Mob Boss. I like it. I like
You
it.
like that? You like that? I know that could be an insult to our New England. We have a big New England base because all the sports hub, and going on and crazy. But here's what I want to get into. What I want to get into is last night's game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys. And I know all the Baltimore fans are like, oh, we look so good. We look so good. We're back. Cam, we're back. Baltimore, we're back. It's 34-17.
You beat the worst team in the NFC.
The putrid Dallas Cowboys gave up, I wish I was exaggerating, almost 300 yards of running. 300. 300. Here are the final tallies. You know how I love running the ball and running attempts more than anybody. Every week we come on here. Last night I came on here and I said how bad of a job Mike Tomlin did running 14 times for 21 yards, which is pathetic. Let me put it to you this way. Another reason why the Steelers are dropping, for many reasons, they ran 14 times for 21 yards. The Baltimore Ravens had more rushing attempts than the Steelers had running yards. Let me say this again for those clicking around, watching cat videos, angrily tweeting, stumbling across our video, okay, that are not part of our like and subscribe channel just yet. We can't wait for them to jump on. They ran the ball for a total of 21 yards. I'm talking about the Steelers a couple nights ago. The Baltimore Ravens ran for 37 times for 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, and almost 8 yards a clip. They only passed the ball 17 times. I understand the game has gone stupid to an all-pass, all-insanity league. You still can win in the NFL by running the ball, controlling the time possession, controlling the game. What are your thoughts, Cam?
No, absolutely you can. We see it all the time. If you control the clock, control the game, you're going to win. And Baltimore plays that to a T when they're dialed in, and they did it last night. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are a laughingstock. They are the worst team in the NFC. They'd be the worst team in the league if it weren't there for 2 teams actively tanking in Jacksonville and New York. They're a disgrace to football. The Dallas Cowboys. They're an absolute.
I agree. I agree, and I'd love to disagree. I would love to disagree. I'm so excited. I'm about to rip this thing out of the socket here. But yeah, the Dallas Cowboys are now 3-9. You talked about the Jets who are terrible. By the way, I saw a stat this morning. I was watching ESPN. I was stunned to see this. Teams that play the Dallas Cowboys are worse than the New York Jets offense. So what that means is the Dallas Cowboys defense is so bad, it doesn't matter who they play. They're going to play better than the Jets team. That's how bad the Jets are that bad. Okay. And the Cowboys are that bad. They're both that bad. Okay. So here's what I want to get into with the Cowboys. So the Cowboys are now 3-9, as I mentioned. I give the Baltimore Ravens a lot of credit. They've been up and down. I said this last night. No, they're never going to go 16-0. That's crazy. Lamar Jackson does deserve a lot of credit. This Baltimore team, I look at it in 2 different ways. They're a power running team, but they're also a little bit of a finesse team. I know that's kind of an odd combination to be power running and finesse at the same, but they are. Because their best playmaker besides Lamar Jackson is Hollywood Brown. He's never going to be a 9, 10, 11 catch, 140-yard guy. He's going to be a big play, 50, 60-yard play. Had a couple big plays last night. But at the end of the day, ironically, Baltimore would really benefit from having a guy like a Mike Evans, a possession receiver, or a guy like that. They need that guy, that key tight end. I know Mark Andrews is a great tight end, but they really need another tight end to fill in that Hayden Hurst. So I don't have a problem with Baltimore. I think Baltimore is figuring it out. They're all in on Lamar Jackson. So That's what I mean. As great as Lamar Jackson is, that's where Baltimore can go. If he struggles with passing, understanding, reading the defense, and his athleticism is not kicking, and he can't get past the spy linebackers, then they're going to struggle. It's really that simple. But here's what I want to get into. The Dallas Cowboys are an absolute dumpster fire. Total dumpster fire. Here are laughingstock, an embarrassment. Here are the top 6 guys as far as payroll on the Dallas Cowboys. This year we're talking about. Dak Prescott, injured, a lot of money, $34+ million. DeMarcus Lawrence, another high-paid defensive end that has not performed up to his level. Amari Cooper, a very talented receiver, but in my opinion is not worth $20+ million. He's not at that level. Ezekiel Elliott, he has been a great player. But what do I always say? Running backs are valuable, but you don't pay them. You don't pay them, period.
That second contract is death, as we've seen.
As we've seen. I don't care if Zeke was the best running back, second running back a year or 2 years ago. He's got his money. Why does Ezekiel Elliott want to run the ball 25 times a game and catch 6 screen passes a game when he's already got all that money? He doesn't. There's no.
Look at Todd Gurley.
Right. Exactly. So we got 2 more guys. Zach Martin, who has been very good. He's a very good player. He's worth the money, offensive lineman. And their other guy, Tyron Smith, who was a great left tackle, but unfortunately, back-to-back years, multiple injuries. He's another guy that's overpaid. So you're talking about, of all these guys, Zach Martin is really the only guy living up to that billing, living up to that salary. I was stunned in the offseason. I thought the Dallas Cowboys had the worst offseason, the worst of any team in the league. Why?
Why?
They butchered. You obviously don't agree with that. Tell me why. Tell me why.
No, I'm saying why. Elaborate. I'm why.
Okay. Well, you seem to be struggling, and I'm going to tell you. Number one, they butchered the Dak Prescott situation.
Big time.
Big time. They butchered that whole thing. You can argue Dak was getting greedy. I would say Dak was getting greedy, but at the end of the day, that whole situation was butchered. Okay.
The quarterback always has the leverage. You're right.
The quarterback, at the end of the day, either pay the man or trade the man. Don't do this Mickey Mouse in the middle, franchise him, the Kirk Cousins route. Okay, that's something that the Washington football team, that's something that the Redskins did, okay?
The terrible organizations.
That's something that the bad organizations do. You don't screw around and Mickey Mouse around with your star quarterback. You either pay him the money or you trade him. It's that simple. And they would have been much better off trading him. Obviously, they dodged a bullet, you could argue, with the injuries, but odds are he's probably going to get paid. Now, here is the thing. They paid Ezekiel Elliott $90 million. They paid Amari Cooper $100 million. Those are 2 guys that in the next 3 to 4 years are not going to be uptrending at all. They are not going to significantly
improve. They might not even be on the team.
What's that?
They might not even be on the Cowboys in 3 years.
Right. Well, they probably won't, not in 3 years, but I mean, they have to bring it back next year. Okay. Which all this circles back to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, what does this have to do? Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz are always going to be tied together. Always.
Same draft, same division.
Same draft, same division. Some guys like Wentz, some guys like Dak. As it turns out, they both become injury prone. They both become not living up to expectations, because what Dak Prescott has proven is that he is solid, and he had a great start to the year. But having said that, when he had a great offensive line, when he had a great running back, they were great over a year. They could win 10 or 11 games with Dak, with the best O-line and the best running back and so on and so forth, with a great structure. Much like Baker Mayfield is thriving. In 2 or 3 years, it's going to be like the Cowboys situation in Cleveland if they don't improve. Okay, what I mean by that is this. Right now, Baker Mayfield doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott does need to be the end-all, be-all. He's going to have to come back, throwing 300 yards a game, throwing 5,000 yards, throwing 35 TDs, and that's just not realistic. This Cowboys team.
Oh, he's not Patrick Mahomes.
He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Tom Brady. He's not at that level. And this guy,
he's second tier.
He's second tier. You've got banged up offensive linemen. You don't have great tight ends. This team, ironically, and their defense is dreadful. Their defense is dreadful. I believe it was Vanderbosch last night. Did you watch the game? Did you see Vanderbosch?
I did. He got trucked.
He got trucked. He got whiffed. And Lamar Jackson was clearly running the ball. Vanderbosch runs the opposite way. Dude, you were just making a business decision, and that's what I don't want to see. What are your thoughts?
My problem with the Cowboys is this, Preston. It's not Dak Prescott. It's the owner/GM. As long as Jerry Jones keeps injecting himself into football decisions and won't hire a real GM or won't hire a real coach, the Cowboys are going nowhere. What other owner in the league does weekly radio hits, does post-game press conferences, and is the GM? It's just him. You don't hear Robert Kraft. You don't hear the Glazers. You don't hear the Bidwells, the Yorks, on and on and on and on. It's only Jerry Jones. And the perfect example of this to me this year was their first-round pick. Look, CeeDee Lamb's a good player. The Cowboys didn't need him. They already have great receivers. They don't need CeeDee Lamb. They needed defense. And then this year at the deadline, after Prescott was hurt, there were rumors they might trade for Ryan Fitzpatrick or trade for Cam Newton. No. Keep your pick in draft and invest on your defense. the CeeDee Lamb pick, as good as a player he is, you need to invest in your defense.
I would agree. I do need to invest in. And by the way, just on this list, I don't even like this list that I created. I don't like that these are the highest paid guys. Okay, Dak, I understand. He's the quarterback. I get that. But DeMarcus Lawrence, I never liked DeMarcus Lawrence. To me, DeMarcus Lawrence is a 5-sack guy that gets paid like an 18-sack guy. That's the problem.
He's Aaron Donald. Yes.
That's the problem with DeMarcus Lawrence. He gets paid like he's Aaron Donald, and what you're getting is Donald Duck. Okay, that's the problem. And Amari Cooper's another guy. He gets paid like DeAndre Hopkins. He gets paid like Julio. And what you're getting Amari Cooper is a guy that's soft, and he's brittle, and he has brittle hands, and he has a brittle body.
Whenever he faces an elite corner, he gets shut down.
Right. He gets shut down, and he cries, and he whimpers. Okay? And then you got Zach Martin, who is a great player. Tyron Smith was a great player. Look, 320-pounders, 6'6", aren't meant to last forever. I don't care if you drafted him first overall. The fact that I think the Dallas Cowboys 4 or 5 years ago, they just got lucky. They got lucky that Stephen Jones convinced Jerry Jones for 2 or 3 years to load up O-line. They got lucky with O-line. They got lucky with Zeke.
Not draft Johnny Manziel.
Not draft Johnny Manziel's and all these weird, but they've gone back to that. They've gone back to the chaos in Dallas. Let's worry about CeeDee. Oh, we love CeeDee. You're right. CeeDee Lamb is phenomenal. Any team in the league would love to have CeeDee Lamb. A team that would love to have CeeDee Lamb, the Patriots need CeeDee Lamb. They need a guy. The Patriots need to get on the phone and get CeeDee Lamb. That's what they need to do. Get on the phone, get CeeDee Lamb, trade an aging Dante Hightower, trade an aging McCourty brother, trade some of those guys. I know that may hurt your heart. I can see the fear and the anger in your eye.
No, not at all. Look, I love those guys.
Get a CeeDee Lamb, right?
No, I mean, it doesn't fear me trading those guys at all. I mean, I love those guys, but they're old at this point, and they would help the Cowboys. They're still good players, and the Cowboys need help on their – I know Seattle has the worst pass defense in the league this year. The Cowboys are worse because run defense is effort, and they're getting trucked.
You're right, and let me say this. That's true, and they were the worst. Seattle's getting better. They added Carlos Dunlap a couple weeks ago, and Jamal Adams has made not a lot. He hasn't been a big – but he's made the last 2 weeks combined Carlos Dunlap – with Jamal Adams, that Carlos Dunlap addition has given Seattle just enough. Not a lot, but just enough on a 3rd and medium to make a sack, he's done just enough. Now, unfortunately, Seattle, their defense has gotten better slightly, and their offense has gotten worse. Now, I love Russell Wilson. I've got him on both of my fantasy teams. Why has Russell Wilson done worse? He doesn't have a running game. You cannot ask Russell Wilson. Look, Risk It Biscuit, all these teams throwing 45, 50 times a game.
There's only one team that gets away with not running.
The only team that gets away with not running, and that's Andy Reid. And Andy Reid has always done that. Andy Reid has his whole 20-some-year career has always gotten away without running. Even when he had Donovan McNabb, even when he had Alex Smith, the check-down machine, he got away without running. The way he gets away without running, he's featured the tight end. He's featured the running backs. Okay, back when he had Brian Westbrook for the Eagles. Andy Reid is
Jamal
brilliant. And Jamal Charles and all these guys. Andy Reid has been brilliant at featuring scat back, 3rd down backs, getting them the ball. He's got Patrick Mahomes. Yes, they throw for 300-some yards, but it's not all Tyreek Hill. Yes, Tyreek Hill's great, but they go to Travis Kelce. They go to Le'Veon Bell. They go to Clive Sarah.
Right.
They mix it around a lot. So last thing I want to say on this, and I want to wrap up this first video. Carson Wentz. I heard this today. I thought it was crazy. He is due $60 million in dead cap money next year if they cut him
or trade
whatever they do. However, I did see this today on Fox Sports. I got up early. Your boy Nick Wright was talking about this. There is a crazy scenario where they could trade him. And they would lose $34 million in change of dead cap. Now, I know
that's still a lot.
So that's still a lot. But my question to you, could you see a scenario if these next 4 weeks, Jalen Hurts goes 2-2, 1-3 plays competitive, see a scenario where they would consider, here's what he said, and I actually kind of agree with his idea. He said, take your lumps next season if you're Philly, because you're not going nowhere next year with Philly. Take your lumps next year if you're Philly, load up your O-line, load up your D-line, and focus on Jalen Hurts if you feel confident. Would you, first question, consider trading Wentz, taking a $34 million roughly, and just eat the pill next year?
Yes. Yes. Because
okay.
I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. He's not going to win in Philadelphia. Nick Foles ruined Carson Wentz's career there, and I don't mean that like a malicious way. He's always going to be in the shadow of that Nick Foles statue, as I said last night, and ours will be 50 stories tall hanging over Lincoln Financial Field. It's always going to be looming over him, and he's just not going to be able to overcome it. Carson Wentz needs a fresh start. The Eagles need a fresh start. They drafted Jalen Hurts high. Absolutely. Take the bullet edge. The best the Eagles are going to do next year is win that god-awful NFC East. I don't even know if they're going to do that because both New York and Washington are getting better, and they're getting worse, Philly.
You're 100% right. I look at it like this. New York is getting better. Washington is getting better. Both of those teams are getting better. And here is the key. Both of those teams, Washington and the Giants, have two very good coaches, very good. Judge, I thought he was a great hire. I liked his speech preseason. I liked what he brings to the table. I like his discipline.
Giants remind me a lot of last year's Dolphins.
There are a lot of last year's Dolphins. Now, they don't have the draft picks that the Dolphins had. That's another thing. They had a lot of draft picks. But, yes, you're right. The Giants are going the right way. They beat a very good Seattle team. The Washington football team, and I hate calling them that. I just want to call them the Redskins just from, the WTFs, okay? The is going on. The WTFs, the Washington team, and I really hate to call them that. I really do, okay? But the PC police are going to get angry. But at the end of the day, they've got Ron Rivera. I told you preseason, you told me you thought preseason Washington was the worst team in the league. I said I vehemently disagree. They got Ron Rivera. They got a good young defense. And with or without Dwayne Haskins, regardless of what he does, I said I could care less what he does. It doesn't matter. Now that they have Alex Smith, they're going to be in every football game 23-20 with a 50-50 shot. They proved that. They beat the 11-0 Steelers.
Because, Alex, the one thing about Alex Smith, if he's healthy, he's not going to turn the ball over.
Right. He's going to check down to the running back 10 times, 12 times, 15 times. I tell you right now, if I was Alvin Kamara, I'd want to be traded to the Washington football team because I could catch – I know I'm going to catch 10 or 12 screen passes a game from Alex Smith, whereas Taysom Hill is downfield or run, downfield or run. So that's my take on that. But I agree. I would take the pill if I was Philadelphia. Washington is going the right way. The Giants are going the right way. The Cowboys are going the wrong way. And who would have thought preseason the Dallas Cowboys would have the worst team and the worst coach in that division? The worst.
In the NFC. The whole NFC. I agree. I know. Look, Mike McCarthy, yes, you can say he's a Super Bowl champion coach. So is Brian Billick. And as every day goes by, Mike McCarthy looks more and more like a pure product of Aaron Rodgers and nothing more.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe to the channel. Send this to all your friends. If you love it or hate it, if you love it, retweet it. If you hate it, retweet it twice. That's the best thing to do. Like and subscribe. Hit me up and stay tuned for the next show.